Hello, and welcome to that Eurovision podcast, Eurovision with a Slice of Life. My name is Rory, and I am feeling very tired today. I've come back from a walk without stretching, and so my body is just aching. But it's okay because we're going to be talking about a fantastic topic, and I'm really excited to get into it. And joining me,
Jazzi, I am really excited about the topic that we are going to be talking about today because this feels like a topic that helped me get into like the Eurovision fandom. So this is like the start of me in this fandom. So it makes me really excited to be able to talk about it.
Hi, it's Rosie, and I am also very, very excited. I have done absolutely nothing today, so I'm I've had this sort of thoughts going over in my head all day, and I'm ready to let them all out.
good to know that you've got something to do for the day anyway.
Tim here. Yes, I've been working all day, but I am very excited because we're going to talk about one of the best contests in the 2010s. So I'll leave Rory to tell more about it.
Yes, well, as Tim alluded to, we are going to be doing another year retrospective, and in conjunction with the fantastic Eurovision Again initiative, we are covering the last year that was done in the continuous season of Eurovision Again, which was 2014 in Copenhagen in Denmark. It was hosted by Lise Rønne, Nikolaj Koppel, and Pilo Ausbeck, and it was won by the fabulous Austria and Conchita Wurst with Rise Like a Phoenix. So, just to sort of kick things off, like, as a whole, like, what do you think 2014 is like in comparison with, like, sort of the previous years up to 2014 and, like, sort of afterwards?
Spectacular.
I kind of think that 2014 is like the start of the modern era of Eurovision. Like, you start to see countries taking the contest a lot more seriously and a lot fewer like joke entries. Like, also like just the technology and the stage, and like this Eurovision feels like very, very modern. And it's like the start of the era of Eurovision we are currently in. Although some will argue that is 2016, but we'll save that for a 2016 retrospective.
Yeah, 1 year at a time.
I love 2014. It is my favourite year of Eurovision. I think it is just spectacular. I don't think there is a dud song in the final. I think there are very, very few bad songs in the entire contest. And something about this contest feels so special and so meaningful to me. And I will talk a little bit more about exactly why later on, I'm sure. But it holds an incredibly special place in my heart. And I am absolutely delighted to be talking about it because I have so much love for this year.
Aww, that's cute.
Other than being spectacular, it looked really great. And because Denmark hasn't hosted for over 10 years, obviously they wanted to show off. No wonder why they became nearly bankrupt by the end of this. But it was really great. But the fact that there was less countries ended up having to mean that there's going to be more heartbreaks, especially in the second semifinal. But we'll talk about that later.
Oh, don't talk about that. No. Yeah, I mean, obviously in sort of the run up to 2014, like there was still sort of the effects, I guess, of the economic sort of downturn that meant that a lot of countries weren't really able to take part. Like, for example, like Cyprus had to withdraw, Serbia had to withdraw. So, of course, that was a big shame because we kind of missed out on a lot of those countries that, that now we sort of expect to see participating and in the final as well. 2014 was the first year that I sort of followed the contest and as like a quote unquote journalist with ES Reviews, my previous website that I used to run. And it just, like, I do have really fond memories of it because, that was the sort of first year that I fully paid attention to sort of the national final selections, and it just kind of cemented like my commitment in the Euro fandom, and there are some songs in this year that I absolutely adore. Some of them I kind of despise, and I think that's kind of the sort of, I think this is the sort of go-to Eurovision year. If you ever wanted to sort of introduce someone to the Eurovision and you'd kind of like be wondering which one should be the best to do, I'd say show them 2014, because it's the most musically diverse and it's the one that just kind of encapsulates what Eurovision is all about, you know?
Definitely agree. I feel like it felt like there was something more than just a song contest this year, and that's one of the reasons why I love it so much.
Not to mention as well, it was hosted in, two derelict sort of warehouses, but time and a place, no. Oh dear. But yeah, even just sort of like looking at like the production of the contest, so like, with the hosts and the stage and just how the whole sort of contest like looked as a viewer, like, do you think that this is like a definitely like a high point, or do you think there's like some bits that sort of like needed to change?
I think this is definitely a high point. I think this is like visually one of the best Eurovisions we've ever seen, and definitely very good visually up to this point that we were obviously at in 2014. It just feels like it's very modern, and like you can tell it's like a very recent Eurovision. Like I feel like there's somewhere like the feel can be quite not dated, but like not as modern or not as technologically advanced. And like you just have to watch 2004 and like watch like the evolution in those 10 years. Like it's just amazing. And yeah.
Isn't it great to see how our little contest has evolved so much in the last 10 years?
Yeah.
I think, again, yeah, the visuals are fantastic. I think the only thing that I'm not a huge fan of for me is the sort of the grid-like backing to the stage, because I feel like there are some points where that sort of almost disrupts the sort of aesthetic that some of the performances are going for, and I feel like it can be a little bit intrusive sometimes, but honestly, that's a small thing I can overlook.
It can make the stage look a little bit small at times, although obviously it wasn't. There is actually an entry that is in my top 3 where I feel this may be the case, but we will come into that.
Yeah, save the surprises for a little bit later.
Which may have given away which one of those countries is, but
For me, I really like 2014. The stage was absolutely spot on. Denmark was taking advantage of all the technological advances, and it looked great. And most of the delegations used the stage to its maximum capacity, so the delegations were able to put on a spectacular show.
Yeah, I mean, when you sort of look at sort of some of the catwalks and things that have been like shown in 24 since sort of 2013, since they've sort of become a thing, I think 2014 is probably like the year that got the most sort of use out of it, because we had people like, say for example, like Switzerland or Hungary or Israel would kind of go out into this sort of catwalk mix into the sort of audience, and I think that again sort of is part of the reason why it's seen as such a good year, because there was a lot of sort of artist interaction kind of thing. For me, I do really love 2014 just as a year. I think the stage was impeccable. I think the way that they included sort of the sort of moat around the stage, I think that was a really nice touch, because you don't really see much like or anything like that in a Eurovision sort of setting, let alone well, I mean, it would make sense with Denmark because like there's so many different islands to do with the country. But anyway, yeah, my favorite part though of the whole sort of concept of the contest was definitely the postcards.
Absolutely.
Because I think it created such like a way for creativity, and I think that's something that definitely needs to be sort of implemented again in like maybe future contests.
Like,
I loved those postcards so much.
and the
Yeah.
I
artists
go
were
back and
really,
watch
really
them
dedicated
occasionally.
to
They're
them.
just that good.
Yeah, like you could tell that the artists were really dedicated to the postcards and that they could feel proud of their nationality. Like, I think we saw with Albania, she got the black bit of the Albanian flag tattooed onto her back, and it's like
That's
there
commitment.
was just so much commitment there, and like national pride as well. I feel, and I really like that.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, if any of you sort of have a favorite postcard from this year, like, would any of you like to sort of divulge?
I can vouch. I can start. I would say the United Kingdom because of the fact they used all of the iconic things that are related to the UK. You've got the Royal Mail van. You've got a London bus, and you've also got raincoats, which signifies that it rains in the UK.
Actually,
So
yeah. I was just saying that I actually knew someone who was actually in that postcard. It's really strange, but because I didn't actually notice until like the final when I actually saw him run out. So Nikita, if you're listening to this, hello. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
So yes, to sum up my point, the UK kind of ticked all the boxes because they were showing off their culture and they were showing off what the UK is known for on a world stage. So that's what kind of makes the perfect postcard.
I feel like I have to agree. I kind of get it into my head that the whole you can't vote for your own country thing means that I can't really say the UK even for things like this, but honestly, it's so good. It's so good. The other one that I really, really like, and this is probably because I have an addiction to watching these videos at the moment, is Germany's, where they're making the sweets. I have a real thing at the moment where all of my recommended videos are people making sweets. And I can't stop watching them.
To be fair, that was a very good one. I mean, like, if Eloise ever do end up making like a taffy company or like some kind of things like that, we just be like first in line to get their produce, because like I'm totally up for that.
Yes.
There's a fun fact about that one. I saw it on Twitter. I don't know who tweeted it, but they said that the German delegation showed up with whatever sweet they made during the postcard.
Did they actually?
Apparently, I can't confirm nor deny this, but I've seen it on Twitter somewhere.
Hmm.
Oh, I love that.
People who've been to 2014, can you confirm whether or not this is true?
Someone who's been in the press center, please
Please.
reply to us on Twitter and just confirm this.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel I've already touched on this one, that I really like the Albanian postcard on like how she got like the eagle like tattooed onto her back, and I just feel that shows like real commitment to like the contest and to her country, and I just find it really, really beautiful. I also do really, really like the UK one because it shows off what the UK is all about, and the effort that was put into it. It felt like this was one of the years that the BBC was like really committed to Eurovision, from the postcard to the song, and I just feel like we need BBC in the UK need a little bit more of that.
Oh, I see it. BBC just knew what they were doing this year, and then they were sold up the river. Ridiculous. Yeah. So there's a couple of like little bits that I like about like all of the different postcards. For example, like I really like Denmark's one, with the sense that it's like an optical illusion.
Yes.
Like that's really
that
interesting.
one's so good.
And I love that one. And I think it really just plays with your mind, and you like wonder, that's so strange. I also really, really like Switzerland's one because of like the whole domino effect. Now, to be perfectly fair, feel like we need to call him out on this, because there is a video. He did not actually arrange all of the dominoes himself. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry to shatter the illusion, but there was a team of people who were doing the dominoes at the same time. So
I feel so lied to. I feel more lied to than Nicholas Joseph.
I feel betrayed.
Honestly, Subalter, why did you do this to us? You know, how could you?
Daddy.
Hashtag Daddy Seb. Are we doing another Subalter step on Rosie moment, is it?
Absolutely.
No.
It was his 34th birthday yesterday, and therefore he's certifiable daddy material.
Well, happy birthday, Subalter. Hopefully, you know, if you're ever listening to this, I don't know, who knows. Yeah, but my personal favorite was Poland, Donatan and Cleo. And I really like it because it encapsulated what it was for music and also bringing the flag in.
Oh, yes, that is a good one.
That's a good one. There's just so many of them that are so good. And I do think like every one of them has like a bit of a charm to it, with the possible exception of Valentina Moneta with San Marino, because all she literally did was just paint it. So, I don't know. I mean, could have had a little bit more imagination there, but it's all right. But yeah, so sort of moving on, I guess, to sort of the main sort of focus of the songs, I guess. What we're going to do a sort of collective third, collective second, and collective first. So who would like to kick us off by divulging their third place?
I will kick things off because I feel like I kind of gave it away earlier.
Mm-hmm.
My third place is Greece.
Ooh.
I know a lot of people see this as like the start of Greece's downfall. The song is Rise Up by Freaky Fortune and Risky Kid. I almost mixed that up then. It feels like you know when a song, even though they're not British, the song to me has quite a British feel to it. And this was like music that when I was around that age, I listened to quite a bit, and I just find it so boppy and so fun. Obviously, it is one of Greece's poorer results. I don't think it deserves to be. However, I understand why. The staging, it doesn't look empty, but it makes the stage, like their staging makes the stage in Copenhagen look a little bit small because it's so big. And obviously when they're bouncing on trampolines, the vocals are not going to be the best. However, I still think the song's a banger. I still listen to it now and really enjoy it. It's one of those songs that I just love everything about. And so I can't wait to talk about my top two because this is only my third. But I still understand why it didn't do very well. Also because Cyprus were not in the contest to give them
yeah, they wouldn't have had that extra 12 points.
Funny thing though, Jazzi, did you know he was born in London?
Yes, I did.
So it was like I can kind of get like the British feel for some reason. I don't know if it's just because he's born there and he's kind of mix that in with the track. And just like the feel of it for some reason.
Yeah, I just feel like even away from the contest, this is something that I would have listened to when I was that age. So I feel there is a nostalgic feel there for me, and I just really love the song.
It's my third place, and I am fully prepared for both Tim and Jazzi to come for me for this because I know they both don't like this song. But it is Coming Home by Firelight from Malta. And honestly, anyone who's listened to any of the previous episodes of this podcast will know just how much I love that sort of folk style of music. And it feels like the sort of thing that I could sit in a pub to and listen to a live band play and relax and enjoy and clap my hands along with it and dance along with it. And it just puts a huge smile on my face. It makes me feel really happy, and I love that of it.
I mean, I can kind of understand like why.
I can understand.
Yeah, because I like the staging of it. The staging of it was really good. Like the way that they like asked people to bring in selfies. Like they asked like fans of the contest to like send their selfies in so that they could be in this be in the background, which is really, really nice. It's a nice touch. It's just not the sort of music that I would necessarily listen to.
Like the staging saves it from being less memorable than, in my opinion, the song already is. The staging does make it more memorable. It's not that I dislike this song. I just, when I'm thinking of all the songs like in the final in 2014, this is probably one of the last ones that I think about. And I guess maybe it's just not to my taste. I am sure there's plenty of people like, because it does have a Mumford and Sons feel that definitely will really love this song. So I can see why. Plus, I feel like Mumford and Sons was still pretty big back in 2014, so I can see why it made the final and did decently as well.
I will wait for you.
Can we not, like... It's just a rip-off of Mumford and Sons, like, come on.
Yeah, but right now the fandom is wanking themselves over Double Trouble, which is a rip-off of Steps, so...
Yeah, but we want Steps
Anything's
at
a rip-off
Eurovision.
if you try hard enough to compare it to something.
I was trying to work out what Double Trouble sounded like, and it is definitely Scared of the Dark by Steps.
Mm-hmm. It is.
See, I haven't listened to that song from Steps because I try not to listen to Steps, so...
Which is a winner of the OGAE song contest in 20... Oh god, I can't even remember anymore. 17. Yeah, 2017. Or 2018, I'm not sure. I keep forgetting.
Steps have gone to Eurovision, so we can say that now.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Okay. I'm guessing it's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
No pun intended.
No,
No pun intended.
Turn.
No pun intended. Okay, my third, and I'm being called a nationalist here, but my third is United Kingdom and Molly and Children of the Universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's the time when I actually believed we could do better. We've managed to find some sort of formula, and it was a positively receptive song. And then stuff happened in the night. The mixing wasn't right or something, but I didn't even notice it when I'm watching it. But I'm just a bit heartbroken that Molly didn't get the result that she deserved. I mean, yay for 17th, because we haven't been that high up since 2011, but still,
she still deserved better.
Yeah. She deserved better. Like, much better. And I'm really gutted. And I hope that she's able to come back with a better song. BBC, come on.
I've seen she's just had a bubba, or she is pregnant, so, we're having another child of the universe coming in now.
Oh.
I know. Another. Hopefully, she'll call him Molly, and then that'll be the carrying on of the saga, the fire saga. No. Yeah. So my number 3. If you've listened to the favorite non-qualifiers episode, please do listen to that. But if you have listened to it, this will come as no surprise. My number 3 is the Shin and Mariko 3 Minutes to Earth. And I just really like the song for the sake that it's so out there. And I still maintain that if it was entered into the contest during this sort of era of the contest, it would qualify, because it's so bold and it's so daring to go in so many different directions that it just wasn't just sort of well received at the time. And I just remember when it first came out, I'd seen so many people sort of writing it off. And then the staging happened and people thought it was too kooky. But I actually really like the idea of the parachute, because it's, taking you're coming down from Earth. So that's the whole point, you're sort of keeping yourself grounded and that kind of thing. And I think the staging of that is just so good. And I just wish that they put the song on Spotify again, so I can just sort of just binge listen to it on the get-go,
This is the same Europe that tanked Iriau, so I don't trust them. Maybe Europeans don't deserve votes.
Europeans don't deserve rights.
Maybe Europeans don't deserve Georgia.
No, yeah. Georgia, we love.
That's the truest of statements.
We love Georgia too much, honestly.
My second place might come as a bit of a surprise to some people, because like Rory, it's a known qualifier. It's Island Heartbeat by Canlin and Casey Smith.
Ooh.
I just love anything that feels like Irish, like that Irish sound, Celtic sound, and this song has it. I also really, really enjoy the chorus. I just think it has a really catchy hook and it's very memorable. And again, very much like Rise Up, it's still a song that I listen to today, despite it not even being in the final of Eurovision 2014. I again get that the staging may have let it down a little bit. Some people say that the staging was quite static because she was just stood there. But honestly, I don't mind. I don't mind that. And I also really like the colourful visual, like that was like, I guess they're LED screens, but I guess they're kind of not. And they look like really, really nice. So yeah, again, it's just another song that has quite a nostalgic feel for me from 2014, and also one of the very first songs that I listened to in a Eurovision semi-final. I guess that's got to mean something.
Well, I mean, as an Irish person, I will thank you very much for even including us in that bit. So, yeah, I'm just looking at the results actually. It would have qualified. Ireland would have qualified if it was televoting, but the jury placed it 14th and actually gave them the same number of points as Georgia.
Wow.
Undeserved.
Yeah, and it was 1 point from coming last, and there was one country that came last in that semi-final, and I'm not going to say who it is just in case someone says it. But let's just say she wasn't really beating with Europe's same heart, you know.
Oh.
Too early? Too soon? Too soon?
It's still heartbroken. Still heartbroken. Still heartbroken.
Hold on to your heartbeat.
I absolutely love that song, and actually it's my 4th place of the year, so it's only just missed out. Not I'm talking about Heartbeat rather than Same Heart, which is still also a good song. But yeah, Heartbeat is a song I absolutely adore. It's again, it hits that same itch that Coming Home does for me for sort of folky type music, and yeah, it makes me happy.
Like, you can just tell this is from Ireland, and I really like that. Like, you wouldn't hear that type of song from any other country in Eurovision, I feel. So it has that national identity, which I feel like countries like Ireland, like the UK, like maybe the Nordics as well, would struggle to have in a song in Eurovision. So it's quite a rarity to see nowadays. So to see that is also really nice.
So my 2nd place, and the fact that this is only my 2nd place shows just how highly I rate my winner, because this is also one of my top 5 of all-time Eurovision songs, and it is Rise Like a Phoenix by Conchita Wurst. And even just saying it makes me happy. It makes me smile. And I just felt it was so meaningful. It felt like I was watching something that was really, really special that night, seeing her win. And I think it felt like it was more than a song contest. It was that place where so many people have found love and joy and acceptance, and where they can discover new things and meet new people. And I think the song itself is beautiful, but I feel like everything that surrounded it and everything surrounding her victory, I think just makes it all the more beautiful to me.
Definitely. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to be this person, but was it when she won that night, did it feel bigger than us?
It felt bigger!
Bigger! Sorry. But yeah, I have to say it was such a sort of victory for not only just sort of Austria and Conchita as like just as a performer, but in mostly just sort of like in queer rights and LGBT rights, because obviously like Eurovision is sort of synonymous with being gay and like celebration and sort of unity and sort of acceptance. So to have someone who challenged conventional thoughts of like what someone should be, I think that in itself is deserving of the first place trophy, you know?
I feel like it's also important to point out, just because this is not a lot of representation that we get to see, that she's also an HIV positive person. And having someone who is openly HIV positive at a time when there's still so much misconception about what HIV is and so much stigma about it is also something that is so meaningful. And we didn't know it at the time, but looking back on it is, again, just sort of adds that extra layer of something to it.
That actually really does change so much.
She was outed a couple of years ago, actually, so it didn't necessarily come out of her own accord, but it's something that she's sort of owned since.
Fair dues to her, honestly, you know?
Okay, my second place. Oh boy, am I gonna get this. My second place is, drumroll please, it is the Netherlands and Calm After the Storm. And
there is no hate.
Yeah.
There is no hate for this song in my house.
Well, you can say that now, but when it was released, people were absolutely not liking the song. But I was one of those that's like, this is the turning point. I think they can do better than a nuke. I knew it from the beginning, and people were just like, nah, it's not gonna do well. It's not gonna be well received in Europe. Ended up runner up. Come on. But
and I think in a lot of years it could have won.
Yeah, that's the point I was gonna make. Had it been another year,
we could have had
another year.
Ilse could have a trophy right now, but no, that really breaks my heart. She deserves it so well, but you know, she mentored Duncan through a Eurovision win, so I guess there's that.
It counts for something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of I see that though, and it's kind of strange because looking at it at the time, like when it first came out, I wasn't a really big fan of it, and then we got there and the staging came out and it was just so cinematic, and I think that definitely changed things, you know. And then even sort of even after the contest, you still actually heard Calm After the Storm on the radio in the UK for up until July, August time, which in itself shows that actually there was something really, really special there. And I do hope that obviously the Common Linnets are kind of no longer the same duo that they had been, but they're still carrying on, I think, in a they're still going on tour or something like that, as far as I remember.
Yeah, they're currently, at the time of recording, they're starting to work on their third album. And obviously, Waylon has now left the band. Such a shame.
Because he was such an outlaw.
I mean, it's such a shame, but...
In Waylon, we miss.
Yes, but to be fair, I will say this, that the Common Linnets is, they now consist of 4 people. And to be fair, 2 of them have appeared on American TV.
Okay.
So you know, it just shows that you don't have to win Eurovision and you still get a good career at the end of it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, you might not win, but you're still doing very well out of it. Eleni. So my number 2, I'm going to have to agree with Tim here, but it's actually the UK as opposed to the Netherlands. So, so my number 2 is also Children of the Universe. When this first came out, I was in love. I loved it. I think it was the sort of first time that I had heard something from the UK in the contest that actually sounded like it could come from the UK. And it just felt so anthemic. It had the right ingredients, you know, it had that sort of hook quality, and it had a really personable singer as well, and I think someone who can sort of laugh at themselves and take the piss out of themselves and really just enjoy their experience. And then she had to get drawn to perform last, and I think that's part of the reason why, which is such a shame because, I don't know if any of you have seen it, but I believe her jury performance is on YouTube. So, and when you watch that, compare that to her final performance, like the one that was actually in the contest, there's such a difference in the way that she sings. And it's a really big shame because there was a real big possibility of the UK like coming top 10, maybe even top 5 with that.
No, Molly deserved better.
Molly does deserve better, so it's all right. We love Molly. And yeah, so now we're on to our winners.
Our number one.
The only treasure we'll maybe have.
Alright, okay. My number one, and if you follow me on Twitter, you already know it's Finland, Something Better by Soft Engine. And I feel to describe this, I'm just going to read out something that I tweeted yesterday.
Okay.
Because I think it sums it up. My favourite Eurovision song is Something Better. I remember watching it in its semi-final, wanting to know more about and then going on Twitter afterwards and wanting to know a little bit more about the band. And next thing I know, I'm in this crazy little community called the Euro fandom, and I will be forever grateful for this song and the friends that I have made in these 6 years. I can safely say, if this song did not exist, I don't know if I'd be in the fandom right now. Because the reason that I started talking about Euro fans was wanting to learn more about the band and wanting to learn like how they got to Eurovision and stuff like that. And then in 2015, I'm sat there watching national finals myself and communicating with so many like wonderful fans. And I just it's just one of those songs that just means so much to me for so many different reasons. And this community is definitely been, it's just like one of those things. It's been the highlight of my life so far. It's here where I've made like the best of friends, and yeah, it's just something that I will be forever thankful for. And I don't want to talk anymore.
Aw.
It is such a great song.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, that sort of, like, I wouldn't say post-punk rock, but it's sort of like contemporary pop rock. I think that it's definitely
again, this was like music that I listened to like outside of the contest prior to obviously seeing it on the Eurovision stage. And yeah, it's just like, I didn't know this type of music was in Eurovision before that, because I didn't really pay that much attention before. But I'm glad that I found out that it is, because now I'm here and I'm here to stay. So,
and we wouldn't have it any other way.
So I know I said that that both my number one and number two are in my top 5 Eurovision songs of all time as they currently stand. And my number one is another song that I think is deeply underrated and should have done a lot better. And it is Hunter of Stars by Daddy Sabalta.
Of course.
Like, that song dismantles toxic masculinity in 3 minutes, and I can't really say any more than that.
It is a good song, though. It is. And I feel like that gives off more Mumford & Sons vibes than Malta does. But it does it in a way better way.
I think it's got that same sort of folk element to it, and it's got the whistling and the violin and the drum beat and all of that. I think the other thing that I really love about it are the lyrics, which I think are really interesting. And also, that whole song doesn't actually rhyme, and yet it still feels just perfect to me. So I feel like it actually disrupts the idea of what a song needs and what a song can be. And that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. The more I listen to it, the more I pick up new phrases, new layers to the music, new lyrics. And yeah, I just absolutely love it. And again, it puts a huge smile on my face. That's the thing for me with 2014, is that so many of the songs just make me so happy. And that is yet another one. And it's strange because the lyrics are actually quite dark, but you can't not enjoy it as he sings it.
Because he's so happy when he's doing it. He's like, that he's also like talking about...
Yeah, going out on the pool because it's expected of me, but I feel like shit.
Oh, God.
Basically, yeah. Oh, dear. But it is a good song, and it was incredibly underrated. But to be honest, though, that's kind of what kicked Switzerland into starting to actually care about the contest more, and that's why they started sending bolder entries, such as like Apollo and Time
Which
to
deserved
Shine.
better.
Yeah, and it was such a shame that this was the last entry to qualify for another 5 years.
But now, new Switzerland, who dis?
So,
Okay, my number one is, of course, it's already been mentioned, Conchita and Rise Like a Phoenix from Austria. Now, we've talked about this in great depth, but the only thing I would say is, when the moment she won and she sang Rise Like a Phoenix again, she changed the lyrics on her reprise.
Yeah.
It kind of felt the sense of inclusion and the fact that people deserve equality. So that's the only additional comment I've got on that. It's a deserved win. Let's leave it at that.
Definitely, yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why in 2015 we had so many songs talking about sort of, we need more love, unity, that kind of thing.
Peace.
Yeah, and a burning fake piano. But yeah, I just felt like, because obviously there was such like a statement in that song, like that's sort of part of the reason why we got so many songs about that kind of thing in the following year, which it had to be anyway, because it was all to do with building bridges and sort of, coming together and celebrating diversity and whatever.
Hashtag.
But yeah, so my number one. Now, I know that I'm very much one of these people who... I wouldn't like to say that I'm a snob, but I do like to sort of go for songs that have more sort of artistic quality to it. So when I say this may come as a bit of a shock, but my number one is Poland, Donatan and Cleo, Misłowianie.
Wow.
I know, but...
Are you sure it wasn't just because of the churning butter?
Trust me, as a certified 100% homosexual, was not going anywhere.
I loved all of the tweets when Poland was on. It was like, everybody's dad gives Poland 12 points.
I don't know if obviously people who live in the UK will remember this, but there's a TV show called Gogglebox on, and sometimes sort of on the channel that Gogglebox is usually on, they sort of do repeats, and it was on a few weeks ago where they showed that the 2014 contest. And obviously Poland was one of the countries that they sort of focused in on. And then they went through the voting. And then when Germany gave Poland 10 points, everyone was like, way! There was just something that's like, it's such like British culture to kind of like, oh, tits, yes, we love it. But no, there's something about this. I think it perfectly kind of shows national culture, but in a satirical way. And that's the whole point of the song. Everyone sort of thought, oh, it's just to show off boobs and it's just to show off women and it's so degrading and stuff like that. But if you're thinking like that, it's almost sort of like you're completely missing the point, because they're celebrating their culture and they're sort of mocking the sort of stereotypes that sort of politicians make about sort of Slavic culture being sort of like underdeveloped and things like that, but they're just sort of proud of what they are. And I think the way that they do that, in the fact that it's just all of that in 3 minutes, I think that's something that's so commendable. Plus as well, just on an aesthetic level, I think I would just really, really want Cleo's hair, like the kind of plait that she has. And I have like long hair, so therefore like in 2014 when I also had long hair, I was trying really hard to see if I could try and plait my hair with like a sort of cloth into it, and failing miserably and getting really angry with myself because I couldn't do it. But yeah, so that's my number one. I know that it's a very sort of controversial take, but
I always found that one quite interesting, because when I first saw it, I always thought that it was supposed to be something that was very sort of cynical and satirical, and not sort of, this is a sexualization of Eastern European women, but this is a parody of the sexualization of East European women. And I was speaking to a friend of mine from school about it, who is Polish, and she was saying actually it's completely straight. And apparently what it is that there was almost sort of a mismatch between Donatan and Cleo, and that Cleo viewed it as a very sort of satirical type thing, whereas Donatan was possibly a little more
Thinking
traditional
of that,
in his views of femininity.
Which kind of...
So I thought that's quite an interesting element to it, in the way that it can be interpreted so differently by different people, and that interpretation can be very, very funny or very, very harmful depending on whose hands it gets in.
And that's if you like even just think into it so much. I mean, if you were like watching the show for the first time and you'd just seen this, you would just think, what is going on? You just think, why are they just showing their tits? And I think you would just you would see that, and I think you wouldn't really think, like, it was memorable, definitely, in the sense, because obviously I think it came 5th in the televoting, I think, overall in the final. But obviously the jury sort of killed it off, and that's why it only came like 14th or something. But there's so much to read into, but if you didn't know about really what it was, then of course you were only going to remember it for its sort of visual aspect. And that's why, even if you just mention the words Polish milkmaids, people will know who you're on about. But yeah. So like sort of, there's other couple of like sort of honorable mentions for the whole contest itself. Like, what would they be?
For me, it would be a couple of the interval acts. Especially naming one in the second semi-final, which was when Jessica Mauboy performed Sea of Flags. It felt like this was like the first proper introduction to Australia in the contest, because obviously they participated the next year, and I just feel this was a really nice touch, even though they weren't performing, to like pay homage to their commitment to the contest up until that point before they started participating themselves. And yeah, it's an interval act that I really, really enjoy, and another song that I actually still listen to because it was a really good song. The second interval act that I'm going to mention is Rainmaker. Seeing all the Eurovision acts from 2014 join her on stage, I really liked that. I really like the sense of community between all the acts. And yeah, it's just amazing.
I think what made that sort of what made Rainmaker so like iconic is it's only like a specific shot. It's when the Tomachevi sisters are dancing with Conchita, and of course that like made such like headlines and headwaves, because obviously, the representative of Russia, a very sort of conservative, socially conservative, almost sort of nationalist sort of government, singing and dancing along with Conchita, which is like the complete opposite of that. And I think that shows in itself how people can sort of just come together, and that's like the exact point of what Eurovision is,
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I love about Rainmaker is, well, it's a fantastic song, but also Valentina waited for 3 years to be on that stage,
and she did. We love Valentina Monetta here. This is a Valentina Monetta stan podcast. Oh dear.
For me, it would be the first time qualifications of Montenegro and San Marino. So yeah, just to reiterate that this is a Valentina Monetta stan podcast.
Yeah.
No. But like, what the only thing I would say is, why did you announce Valentina 6 when you could have left her 10th? Because she was the 6th country to be announced. And the minute you say San Marino, that crowd went berserk. And I meant berserk that the arena was, I think you can hear the arena shaking and quaking.
Definitely.
They absolutely deserved it as well. I think the other thing that I want to say, and I know I've said it many times on this podcast already, but I feel the need to reiterate it because a lot of people still don't get this. If you don't like Polapunk, you have no heart.
Because, do you know what?
How can you not adore them? And also, it's the first time a member of parliament has ever appeared on stage.
Really?
Just as a fun fact. Oh, I have another fun fact as well. Carl Espen from Norway is not actually a professional singer. He's a carpenter.
Oh yeah, because he actually made his like postcard flag, like because that's just what he does. So
Yeah.
he just was just like, oh yeah, sure, I'll just bang this out, and then like I'll just go back to singing.
And a friend of his heard him singing and went, "Hey, you've got a good voice. Do you want me to write you a song?" So they wrote Silent Storm, and he entered MGP, and the rest is history. But yes, he isn't otherwise a professional singer, and he just got the gig because a friend of his liked his voice. So I just think that's kind of neat too.
Yeah, my sort of like honorable mention, of course, has to be Montenegro and San Marino qualifying for the first time, because who would have ever seen that coming? And to be honest, if San Marino didn't qualify, I did think this could have been the end for San Marino in the contest. So these like little sort of qualifications and just sort of getting over the mark, I think that's fantastic. And then as well, the other thing that I have to mention is an interval act in the second semi-final, which I think it was in the second semi-final anyway. It's the sort of dance section where they get everyone to dance along to Calabria by Natasha. If you haven't listened to that song, please do. You probably have, because it's been remixed God knows however many times. And it just sort of follows sort of people dancing from various ages across all of Europe, and then they all sort of come together, and then I don't know, there's just something about that kind of just shows off the whole contest as a whole. And you know what? We just need that in our lives. And Kit, who's 86 years old from Denmark, I hope she's doing well. I really hope so. And I really hope she can carry on doing the splits as well, because...
Well, she'll be 92 now.
That doesn't make a difference. She can still do the splits.
No, just I hope she's doing well, and we stan.
Oh, yeah. We do. We stan Kit, wherever you are. Hopefully, you're doing okay. Oh, dear. But, yeah, so that kind of brings us to the end of this episode of That Eurovision Podcast. I'd really love to thank Rosie, Tim and Jazzi for sort of talking about this fantastic year, and I'd really love to thank, again, the Eurovision Again initiative for, just providing us with something so fun to do on a Saturday night. But yeah, so obviously as things become a bit more normalized, we won't be having as many of these Eurovision Again things, so this would just be a fantastic time just to thank Rob, Ellie and everyone at the Eurovision Again team, because honestly they've made the past 15 weeks so enjoyable, So yeah, please do continue to follow us on all of our social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at That Euro Podcast. We're also on Spotify as well, so make sure you follow us there so you get notified whenever a new episode comes out. And in the next few weeks we'll be carrying on with sort of our country retrospectives, and I have a couple of other surprises for you along the way. But if you have any suggestions, if anything you want us to talk about, please do get in touch. We're always open to suggestions. And yeah, so shall we all say bye?
Bye.
Bye.